All right, today I want to talk about pretty much my whole experience with helicopter parenting and just growing up with an extremely overprotective mother. This will probably be like one of my more important videos. I'm not looking for like sympathy or empathy or anything like that. I'm just kind of, explaining what I went through. And, now that I'm finally away from all that, that whole mess, I finally I feel like I'm getting closer to becoming, just independent, if that makes sense, because I definitely did get sheltered horribly, and it was just horrible. And mental illness definitely runs rampant in both sides of my family, especially my mom's side. And there's been speculation that I have some sort of mental illness, especially, as I was growing up, going through elementary school. The teachers all thought I had autism. They kept, begging my parents, every single year they would write a note or call them up, hey, we think your son, you really need to get him tested. And my mom would just flip out. He's fine. My son is fine. Blah, 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 blah. Until, now it's so mind blowing how through my teenage years, all that stuff, she pretty much went from, oh, my son's fine, to, oh, you're depressed, you're mentally ill, you're sick in the head. And I feel like most of it was just her projecting her own, I don't even know, man. I really don't. I mean, even if I do have a mental illness, which who knows? I don't know. I've never been properly diagnosed. I mean, I have, again, I have had quote unquote medical professionals be like, hey, we think your son's bipolar, because my grandma's bipolar, my mom, apparently, according to my dad told me that she is bipolar. She just doesn't take any medication for it. She has the diagnosis, but doesn't refuses to take medication. My aunt on my mom's side and my dad's side, they're both schizophrenic. My uncles are all bipolar. One of them has NPD, which, it's what, I don't know, it's narcissistic personality disorder, and no one talks to him. He has a legit diagnosis for it. I've been thinking about lots of stuff that I went through just, growing up with my mom. First off, I mean, even before I started living with my dad, she pretty much, because I was going to fly down there initially, because my mom kept telling me I was going to get paralyzed and die driving down there. And I heard her calling my dad, and she was like, our son's too stupid to fly. He doesn't know how to fly on his own. He's never flown in a plane before. I mean, I haven't. But again, my mom pretty much did everything for me. And at the same time, I'd be like, oh, why are you so immature? And why do you not know how to do anything for yourself? Meanwhile, she made every doctor appointment. She did everything. And of course, it's embarrassing. I mean, even growing up, my friends knew how crazy my mom was, and how overprotective she was, because I can name so many, I wrote down a couple, that I was just and I'm sure I'm forgetting tons, and I mean tons of stuff that, I went through. I mean, even as of recently, man, oh my God, the job, pretty much my old job, I would do, delivery driving, and my mom hated that, because I would go to really shitty areas and, stuff like that. And my mom was like, I'm going to call up your boss and tell him that you can't do this. And, oh, dude, I swear to God, if that happened, it would have been over. I actually would have probably quit that job out of embarrassment, because there was actually a woman. This woman had I don't know, some sort of mental illness. I think she was autistic, but she was receiving disability, and she was working full time, and her fucking dad calls the store and goes, oh, I don't want my daughter. And keep in mind, this woman's in her 30s. She's almost 40. She's 38 or something. And basically, the father calls, oh, I don't want my daughter working full time because I won't get her disability checks. And she got fucking flamed for that shit. Everyone made fun of her for that. And it was just so brutal, to watch. And it's if my mom did that, it's I'm a grown adult too. It's what? And she was she was on the phone. She was ready to call. And I'm call the store. And I'm don't, it just would have been so embarrassing, especially too, my mom talking to people for me and doing things for me. It's just embarrassing, the reason why I don't really know how to cook is because she always thought I was going to burn myself, and Like even before I left, she was like, "Oh, you can't cook anything because I'm afraid you're gonna hurt yourself." And oh man, you know, and now I feel like I finally can just live my life, you know, and just try and do more things by myself, you know. But I would say honestly the worst one was the driving one, because she would always, like, this is the whole irony. She'd be like, "Oh, why don't you want to drive? When I was your age, I wanted to drive all the time." And I even noticed that with like our generation, like in general, like most people my age like don't even have their license. Like I'm glad she like pressured me into getting my license. But at the same time, she made me so fucking scared to drive, because she would always tell me, "You're going to get paralyzed. You're going to crash. Someone's going to rob you when you're driving late at night. Something's going to happen." And and she just drilled it in my head, and I'd be like, "All right, well, fuck driving. I don't want to crash," and, you know, all that. And I shit you not, guys, the day I got, so pretty much the car that I was driving, like it had been sitting in the driveway forever, and it finally got fixed. And this was like the first drive that I went on. You know, I was with my mom. We're in a 7-Eleven parking lot. It was just a literal, I swear to God, just drive down the street, park, you know, went in, got stuff, came back out. And as I was pulling out, so I pulled out like way too, I started turning the wheel too early. And I ended up scraping the back of this guy's car a little bit. And she let out the most blood-curdling scream I have ever heard in my life. She's like, "Stop! Stop! Oh my God! Oh my God!" And, you know, I pulled over into another parking spot. She gets out the car, starts screaming, "Oh my God, sir, I'm so sorry. He's new, he's stupid." Oh my God. That was another thing that embarrassed the shit out of me. Like, you would think, if you were sitting in that fucking store, you would think that I ran somebody over from the reaction that my mom gave. And, she just started screaming. I didn't even leave the car. That's first off how embarrassed I was. I was just super angry and just embarrassed. She just starts screaming. Everybody, you know, comes out the store. Everyone, there's even people recording my mom just flipping out. You know, the cops came, and she's just talking to them. "My son, he's stupid. Oh my God, it just like brings back so many shitty memories." She's like, "My son, he doesn't know anything. He's new to driving. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's a kid. He's stupid. He doesn't know what he's doing." And I was just like, literal, like my blood pressure was just exploding. Like I can't even describe how mad I was. And the cop came up to my door. He's like, "Your mother's a character." Like he made like some stupid remark, and I said "fuck off" like under my breath, because I was just so pissed. And he just started screaming. He's like, "How dare you talk to an officer like that?" This guy like went off, and then I just was like super pissed. And, you know, he went over and told my mom, and the kid that I hit, it was like some college student. I only saw him for like a brief second. I didn't even talk to this guy. Thank the Lord for him, you know, for not like starting shit. My mom told me like he just was like chill about it. He didn't like do anything through the insurance. Because I'm telling you guys, it was the smallest scratch you will ever fucking see in your life. Like it didn't even do like much damage. And she's flipping out. "Oh, don't give him points on his license. He's stupid. He doesn't know what he's doing." And just, yeah, people recording my mom, you know, just laughing, and it just sent me into a rage. And then, of course, you know, when everything was said and done, she got into a car, and I was in a shitty mood. She's like, "Why would you say that to the officer? You could have got arrested. What would you have done if I wasn't here for you? What would you have done?" And I remember I went home, guys. I literally almost had a fucking mental breakdown because of that shit. She's like, "What's wrong? What happened? What's wrong?" That will always be a terrible, terrible memory in my head. Like, I don't even want to relive it. You know, it just sucks. You know, another one too, that I wrote down here was like every time. So this is the thing. My friends, like, they were like sort of like at the time, like they liked paintball and airsoft and shit like that. And I was like, what, 15 maybe? This was like, what, 8 years ago now, almost. And they were going to go like paintballing, or I think it was airsoft actually, in the woods. And my mom was like, "Don't do that." And she was sending me all these articles. Like, apparently there's like this article of kids who were playing airsoft in the woods, and someone called the cops and thought it was a real gun, and the cops ended up shooting them. She's like, "You're going to die. A cop is going to come there and they're going to shoot you because they just are." And it just made me like super scared. So I kind of just like told my friends, I'm like, "Yeah, I can't go, because of my mom." And it's just like so embarrassing, you know. And I even remember they would go to like this water park every year, And my mom, again, she'd be like, oh, don't go to the water park. What if you slip and fall and crack your neck or jump off of the thing and end up paralyzed? And I was like, oh shit. And then, you know, I just got fucking paranoid. And now that I look back on it, it's like, what the fuck was I doing? What was I thinking? I should have just fucking went. Oh, here's another one. Hold on, I wrote down another one. Oh, this one fucking pisses me off. So basically, this was like around, I want to say like 5th grade maybe. I had went down to, have a sleepover with somebody in my elementary school. I only had like, I think 2 friends in elementary school. And I pretty much, you know, my dad drove me down to where I used to live to like have this sleepover because it was my friend's birthday party. And they were all hockey players. They all played hockey. They did ice skating. Now, years prior, like a few years prior, I went ice skating with my mom and like her friend. And my mom fell on the back of her head and smacked it. Had like a terrible, terrible concussion. And she was like, you're never ice skating. You're never doing this again. You're never doing this again. Look at what happened to me. That's going to happen to you. And it brought this whole fear of ice skating. You know, I actually might fucking go ice skating. You know, fuck it. I'll just look up an ice skating place and just do it. Because, like, I had, like, this terrible fear. And, like, I remember my mom calling up this fucking kid's mom and being like, he's not going ice skating because of my accident. And I remember my stupid ass I was watching them all, you know, all my friend and all these kids from my school just ice skating, and I'm just sitting there like a dumbass because my fucking mom said, she's gonna hit his head like I did. It's not safe. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's just, and even like nowadays, like fast forward, like she just, you know, she goes from 0 to 100 super fast. You know, like, again, you'll think you're making progress. Like, I think I'll be, you know, on the phone. I think she'll be okay. And then she'll snap over something I say, or, you know, it's just, you can never make her happy, you know? And, you know, another brutal one was, getting drunk on Christmas. That was probably the worst decision I've ever made in my life. First off, like, my body just can't handle alcohol like the rest of my family. Like, I'm pretty much like, I can't drink coffee, I can't smoke, can't really drink alcohol. But I got super drunk on Christmas. I don't even know why. I just did. Fuck it, I did. I don't know. And my mom pretty much made me go to the hospital. They told her, like, oh, you know, he just needs to rest, you know, drink water, rest. And she, you know, just calls up the rest of my family. He's an alcoholic. He's turning into his father. Oh my God. And, you know, embarrassed the absolute shit out of me. And, you know, it just sucked, you know. And then from there on, she's like, I can't trust you anymore. I can't trust you. So every time I'd come home from work, because I started working from 9 to 9. Like, I started getting like a even schedule. So it was from 9 to 9. And I would come home at like 9:30. And she would just pat me down. Do you have any alcohol on you? And then she'd be checking my car like, oh, is there any alcohol in here? Are you drinking in the car before you come in? Your father used to do that. And she was just a paranoid fucking mess. And it just was like, oh my God. And this went on for months, you know. She even thought about buying a fucking breathalyzer. And I'm like, thank God she didn't. That would have been fucking so bad. But again, like, I wasn't doing anything. You know, I was coming home after a long day of work. I was going to bed. You know, I wasn't doing shit. And she's just patting me down like I'm a fucking criminal and telling the whole family, he's an alcoholic. And, you know, it started this like whole problem that I just didn't need. Like, I ended up telling somebody who I used to work with, who I could kind of talk to, and like I trusted him like a little bit. And I kind of just like said one day, like, dude, you know, I got wasted on Christmas for like the first time in forever. And my mom flipped out. She wants to get me into AA, which I did end up going to just to like please her. She would always like scream in my face, like, if you don't go there, you're gonna turn out like your father. I can't believe how drunk you were on Christmas. And just that was like the only thing she talks about. She's like, you traumatized me that day because you couldn't even walk straight and you were slurring. But you know, when the people that I've told so far about, you know, me getting drunk on Christmas and, you know, my mom flipping out, they pretty much were like, dude, you know, everyone gets drunk on Christmas. I get drunk with my family on Christmas. And I'm just like so confused if like what I did was wrong or not, you know? Again, you know, her just like pushing me to this AA meeting, which I felt so out of place in, because first off, you know, 22 years old, I'm with a bunch of literal alcoholics who are like, you know, in their 50s and 60s, who were drinking bottles of fucking, you know, whiskey, bourbons, and vodka, you know, even like fucking gallons a day. And I'm just sitting there off of one bad experience. It's like, I guess the best way, like how delusional it is like, let's say you're 60 years old and you only have one sexual experience in your life and you're claiming you're a porn star. Like, it's just like so delusional, you know? And the main reason was like, she would just have these like panic attacks and mental breakdowns every time she would think about it. She'd be like, I don't want you turning out like your dad, you know, and it just, she would get all shaky and start screaming over it. She's like, how dare you even touch alcohol? How dare you? And, you know, I don't know. It's just like a complete disaster. In helicopter parenting, like, I'm an adult. This shit gets old. It gets embarrassing. I'm trying to finally, like, you know, do things for myself for once. And, you know, she basically, you know, every time I would leave the house or do anything, go anywhere, she would get like constant notifications of where I was at, and she would text me about it and just blow up my phone. I mean, you know, even now, I mean, they got the find my iPhone shit. I mean, that's pretty much like pre-installed in everyone's phone anyway. But, you know, after I get situated, you know, get a job, I'll just have my own phone plan. I'll pay my own fucking bills. Because I mean, I already do. It's just, I don't have my own separate phone plan. But, you know, it's like, it's just ridiculous. You know, she's always just constantly still, you know, I'm not even living with her and she still pisses me off somehow. Like, just manages to piss me off. And it's just like this never ending cycle of her just like, you know, when I don't respond, she'll just fucking tell my uncles or her friends, and they'll just fucking harass me. Oh, you gotta call your mother back, she's worried. And, you know, even though like I am kind of living in like garbage, you know, squalor, it's just not even terrible. Like, it's just, I mean, I've cleaned the house. I'm pretty much like just trying to be as productive as I can. And I mean, yeah, like, it's just, and her to say like, oh, you know, it doesn't sound safe down there, I'm gonna call somebody to condemn the house because it's obvious, it's clear that, you know, it's not a safe environment. Like, fuck off, you know. Once I get fucking situated, and, you know, I don't know, like, I'll probably eventually like move out from my dad's. Like, he doesn't really, again, he's not a helicopter parent. He could care less, you know. He just loves his beer. And, you know, I mean, that's it. He's way more easier to live with and talk to, 100%. And, yeah, you know, it's just, I feel like once I, you know, get everything just finally by myself, I'm just going to block everyone in my family, never talk to them again. I'm never having kids. I mean, it's kind of ironic because I don't have a choice. I noticed, like, you know, with like the antinatalists, like, most of those people, like, they're subhuman, and they think like, they're like, oh, you know, I don't want to have kids because I don't want them to suffer. But, you know, in reality, like, they can't even have kids to begin with because, like, it's completely over. Like, they suffered their whole lives. They just, and it's just like, same for me. You know, I haven't had an easy life. I've had a shitty life. I don't want to pass this on to, God forbid, a fucking son. And, you know, if he's just as pale as me, you know, if he's got that, you know, pale Irish skin and red hair, and he's bloated and completely subhuman, then I already failed as a parent, because he's going to go through the same bullshit I went through growing up. And, I just don't want that, you know. And that's even if, you know, that's even if I do, even get a chance to, first off, date. I mean, I don't even, again, that shit's like off the table. But